Hey there, Kirsten here. I'm joined by Clive today. I don't know if you're going to see him walking around. There's lots of dogs in the Decision Ease podcast, everybody. And I hope you're having a fabulous day. And today we're going to try to make your day a little easier, a little lighter, talk about why small choices feel so big. And we're going to smile about it because we don't want all of this stuff to feel like such a big deal all the time. So actually, this episode and next week's episode are all about making small choices easier. I actually want you to be able to make them faster so that you can, for instance, just pick what's for dinner or just decide, you know what, I'm going to put this there on the wall and not have an entire mental drama play out and not drag the decision out for hours and days and weeks and years and This episode today, we're going to talk about some undercurrents potentially going on that make little decisions feel bigger. They feel like they're higher stakes. They feel like you can't trust an immediate answer to them. You can't make them quickly. And what's going on in this situation a lot of the time is not that you are afraid of the outcome of the decision being bad. What's for dinner? Where do I hang the picture on the wall? What outfit do I pick? The outcomes of these choices, we already know since we've called them small decisions, the stakes can't be that high. So the outcome of the decision being bad is not always what we fear. In fact, a lot of the time, what we're fearing the most is our experience of the outcome. This is one of those little mind benders that once you get it clicked into place, you can see things so much more clearly. It's very similar to often what we fear about change is not the change itself, the things that are going to change. Sometimes the change that we're afraid of is actually very positive. We're still afraid of the change. What we're really afraid of is the discomfort of experiencing the change. The same kind of thing is going on a lot of the time with our small decisions that we just simply cannot make quickly and move on from. We're not actually afraid of getting the decision wrong, quote unquote, or the decision turning out poorly, because as we said, the outcomes can't actually be that bad. But what we are afraid of, and it is genuine, and it does feel a little higher stakes, is our experience of a bad outcome. This is where you're going to have to pay attention to your own habits a little bit, because there are 3 specific behaviors I'm going to call out, and sometimes we do all of them, so we're not judging, but pay attention to how you experience the not so perfect outcomes of small decisions. Let's say you bought some curtains and they weren't a huge investment of time to install them or money to buy them. Just a low stakes decision, easy enough to change, nothing permanent, but you didn't like them. What was your experience of that outcome? Did you verbally berate yourself over and over and over again? Did you constantly judge yourself every time you walk past that room? Those curtains, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you made that choice. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? Whichever way you tend to talk to yourself. Sometimes it comes out to other people too. Have you ever ordered a dinner? Speaking of low stakes dinner decisions, right? Have you ever ordered something or picked a restaurant that you didn't end up liking, or God forbid, somebody else didn't end up liking, and you just made it your job to fall on your sword the rest of the entire night? I know I should never have done this. This was such a bad decision. I'm the worst. I'm never allowed to pick restaurants again, kind of thing. Pay attention, because if that is your norm, what might be slowing you down in these small decisions is not the fear of the decision going awry. It's your fear of self-judgment, fear of how you're going to treat yourself and how bad it's going to feel. Now, let me paint another picture here. If we're looking at a different kind of low stakes decision, let's say it's an outfit for a trip because you're going somewhere with different weather than the norm of where you live. I'm currently in Los Angeles. It's currently in the 90s. So that means we're getting ready for fall, because fall is actually the hottest time of the year when we just live in the hundreds in Los Angeles here. And so let's say you're packing for a trip, maybe a long weekend somewhere in the 60s or the 50s. I know every time I go out of my normal climate, it's extra brain power because I have to think, what do you even wear when it's not 100 degrees outside? And let's say you brought something that was not appropriate. What if you brought like a little sweater full of holes and you're like, this will be fine. It's a low stakes decision, right? But then you get to where you're going and you're chilly, you're uncomfortable. What's your experience of that outcome of the decision to pack the sweater full of holes. Not like a raggedy sweater. If you were not watching on YouTube, I'm wearing like a knitted thing that's like wholly on purpose. But what's your experience of that outcome? Do you make yourself just suffer? Do you do nothing to change your situation? Do you think, well, this is what you packed, so this is what you get. Now you're stuck. Do you not give yourself the option to borrow or buy something new? If we go back to our curtain option, if you buy the curtains, and they were like relatively low stakes investments of time and energy, like we said, but you don't like them, do you consider yourself stuck with them? Do you think, well, now you have to live with this because you already messed it up once. Guess you have to not like the way this room feels now indefinitely. If this is your norm, I want you to consider maybe I'm overthinking this decision about where to put this thing on my desk or where to hang this picture. Not because I'm afraid of not liking the outcome, but I'm afraid of abandoning myself in the outcome. The thing that might be slowing you down is not the fact that this is a high stakes decision that you can't easily course correct afterwards, but the fear that you won't course correct, that you will actually abandon yourself to the outcome you don't like and make yourself just sit in it. The final thing I want you to consider in your experience of the outcomes of your small decisions is, do you tend to catastrophize? Do you see the curtains up on the wall and think, holy moly, this is bad. This is permanent. Or with hanging a picture on the wall, do you ever want to move the picture but think, well, there's a hole in the wall now where I put the original nail and now everything's ruined and there's a hole there forever and it's my fault and everything's terrible. We can assume permanence exists where there is none, or where there doesn't need to be any, or where the stakes of the permanence are super, super low. But it can be a speed bump in our decision making with these small little decisions because we think, well, if I pick the wrong shower head, I'm going to be out that money forever. I'm never going to be able to trust a decision that I make again because I don't even know how to do this. And then I'm going to have this shower head that I don't like. Catastrophe. When you're actually describing just a set of solvable problems or decisions that you can make if you want. So we're looking at 3 very specific behaviors here, and you might be muddling them all together, but we are separating them in case you can hone in on something very specific that you do, a very specific way that you think, because that is what you want to pay attention to. If we remove that speed bump, you can make the smaller decisions more quickly. So the 3 habits we're laying out here are your habit to self-judge, your habit to self-abandon, and your habit to catastrophize. And all of these can be going on in the background when you're looking at, which stapler do I buy? Which gift on the registry do I choose? Which flower arrangement of all of these options that are the exact same price do I choose? These small decisions that do not have to cause inner turmoil and take 5 days or even 5 hours. These can be overcomplicated and slowed down by these specific habits. So your solution is going to be, once you can identify, I feel like I tend to do this, or my mind goes into this direction of a spiral, is to address that straight on. If you're a self-judger, you gotta knock it off. You gotta stop it. You have to proactively work on speaking kindly to yourself. And the best way to start is actually just moving to neutral. At least in my experience, and when I'm working with clients who have a really harsh inner critic who's been in that job for 30 plus years, the easiest way to address that habit is not to go immediately to just saying floofy nice things about yourself, because they'll feel inauthentic and you won't really believe them and you'll give up quickly some of the time. But an easier path towards getting to that nicer language is to speak neutrally. Notice when you want to go down a rabbit hole of blame and criticism, and find objective language. Okay, we don't like the curtains. The picture didn't end up looking the way we wanted it to on the wall. There we are, neutral, objective. Nothing blaming, nothing judging, nothing flowery, nothing you're going to roll your eyes at. But practice speaking more neutrally and objectively so you can start eventually speaking more kindly and stop living in this self-judgment. You learn somewhere along the way that things need to be your fault for you to be a responsible, accountable person who's capable of growing and worthy of being loved. And I'm here to tell you, this is a habit worth changing. If your habit is self-abandoning, If you notice that you force yourself to kind of just live with bad consequences, either because you don't feel like you have the right to make a new decision, or you feel like you deserve the punishment of living with the decision you don't like the outcome of, or whatever else happens that you end up kind of abandoning yourself in outcomes of decisions, then you got to work on your self-compassion. You got to work on your self-support. You have to be proactive about making sure you know you're on your own team. And you have to make supporting yourself more important than whatever is causing you to self-abandon. If you feel like it's important to punish yourself, or you feel like it's important to not ask for more than you deserve, that's something you can work on. But you have to shift your focus to making supporting yourself the most important thing. Are we into it? And if your habit is catastrophizing, you got to start having real talks with yourself. You have to, from a place of compassion, but fierce compassion, fierce self-compassion, which is the active kind, which is the I'm not going to take any gruff because I deserve to love myself and love my life kind of compassion. You're going to hear yourself saying, oh my God, if I don't get the shower head right, the shower head was going to be wrong forever and everything is going to be ruined and we'll never, ever be able to recover. And you are going to take a loving, deep breath and you are going to ask yourself, how dire are these consequences really? How irreversible is anything that we're talking about? Are we able to solve any problem that we're imagining right now? Because if we are indeed talking about low stakes, small decisions, the catastrophizing should be able to be cut off with the curtains, with the picture hanging, with the outfit, with the dinner, with the shower head, with whatever it is that is not going to end up being a life or death scenario tomorrow. So the lovely thing is, once you do this, once you identify, oh, a speed bump, slowing down my seemingly simple, small decisions is actually that I do this, and you clean that up. You just start cleaning it up. Just start. You're never going to be perfect. So just start addressing the habit and start being a little bit more intentional about the way that you're thinking and experiencing the outcomes of your decisions. Once you do that, you get to approach these small decisions with more brain space available to figure out what you want. And it is totally possible to do that quickly. And that's what next week's episode is going to be about. So this week, we're getting all the crap out of the yard. We're pulling the weeds. We're getting rid of the dead leaves. We're looking at, okay, what's the stuff that's going to make anything that we plant here not grow very well and not look very good? Cleaning it all up. And then next week, we're going to plant a bunch of stuff in the garden. We're going to talk about the ways that you can approach these decisions with a simple, structured plan of here's how I make these decisions. And I can make them quickly. And look at that. No brain drama. This is so nice. So I hope this helps. I hope this sparks some insights into what's going on in the background with these small decisions. Remember, if you haven't gotten the Decision Ease Essentials workshop yet, it's a mini workshop. It's just over 30 minutes. It breaks down how to create ease in everyday decisions in a super clear, super doable way. Make sure you get that at kirstenparker.com/essentials. Those are the literal essentials from the Decision Ease framework. The overall tools and concepts I teach to make decision-making easier. We pulled the essentials out and we said, here, do these a little bit every day, make your life easier. I can't wait for you to try those out. And I can't wait for you to make small decisions a little bit faster with a little less drama. I'll see you next week. Hey, want to find out your decision style? Obviously, go take the decision style quiz. It's in the show notes and at kirstenparker.com/quiz. We all have our style when it comes to making decisions, but do you know how to use your default way of thinking to your advantage? Or do you mainly get stuck in the most annoying parts of overthinking and people pleasing? The decision style quiz has your answers, my friend. Take it right now at kirstenparker.com/quiz.